Just Relax, a short discourse on meditation by Matthew Reid. Copyright 2018, read by the author. For more information, please visit www.howstrangelywearemade.com. Just Relax, a short discourse on meditation. And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24. Author's note. The summer months of 2017 provided the opportunity of setting out on a cross-country book tour in support of the publication of Min. As the book contains a mere 28 words, the tour formed itself into an opportunity to speak with folks about the importance and benefits of a spiritually centered life. These talks addressed the elements contained within the story, Min, in addition to their application through the cultivation of a regular meditative practice. While each talk was unique in its own way, they shared foundational commonalities. Originally titled Just Relax, the idea behind this discourse was to put those words into writing. Preface. Spiritual life requires nothing special, as in one regard, the essence of spiritual life is emptiness. All people are on a spiritual path, for all people are innately spiritual beings. This is a subtle yet unifying truth. The universality of spiritual life is the foundation of the universality of meditation. Meditation, in its simplicity, is also emptiness. It is not dependent on race, culture, or creed, and its only required investment is time. The state of the world is a reflection of the state of our hearts. So how does one change the world? It begins on a singular level and is a personal responsibility shared by all people. Judgment of the actions or words of others perpetuates the blame cycle, seemingly increasing our separateness. However, the observed qualities present in others and in society as a whole are simply extensions of the individual. To recognize qualities externally implies an intimate understanding of them. The core values deeply rooted within many global issues are also present within the nature of individuals. Greed, pride, jealousy, fear, their essence is the same. Allowing for a self-reflective response to life's circumstances facilitates the abandonment of the personal judgments of people and situations. Understanding this mirroring nature fosters a necessary perspective shift, a shift from reactive to reflective, to look inside and address the content within the soul, rather than to react through impulse. In joy and sorrow, forgiveness and resentment, compassion and greed, there is a connective oneness. The external serves as a teacher, revealing how those qualities manifest throughout day-to-day life. The internal process can be a difficult one, as exposing of personal faults goes against the self-identifying nature. Just as a chorus of crickets is comprised of individuals refining their songs, so change on the individual level benefits change of the whole. A step in this process is creating the time for meditation. An old Zen proverb states that everyone should meditate for 20 minutes each day. But in the event you're too busy, then you should sit in meditation for an hour. Adopting a regular meditative practice is just as important as the daily practices of eating and sleeping. Each day is quickly filled with work, plans, and commitments. The daily routine leaves no empty moments. As breathing is essential to life, so is true for taking a breath throughout the day. Yet even free time is full of stimuli: movies, music, books, and television. This is not to speak towards the value one may or may not find in these, but to acknowledge them simply as external stimulation. Meditation is the act of being. There are no expenses, no necessary accessories, no commercial exclusivity. While it might seem easier to purchase compassion, mindfulness, and understanding, the internal work is a practice. The practice is a labor of love. It is a process. It can provide the space for personal growth and is a building block of spirituality, that very nature shared by all beings. The elements of Min. On the surface, Min can be split into two parts. The first explores a horticultural metaphor for internal growth. In the story, a single seed is planted and observed through the cycles of nature. There is beauty in the rain, the sun, and the moon. With the passing of time, each element plays its role in the overall growth process. A certain type of perspective shift is necessary to begin to see life this way. The shift can be understood through nature, specifically to this example, gardening. A seed planted in the soil requires the passing of time, the rain, and the sun to germinate, grow, and bloom. The seed is a component of a greater unfolding. Finding beauty in the rain can be difficult. However, it too has a role. The drought welcomes the flood, the clouds part way for the sun, and the bright days inevitably precede the rain. Each moment of life gives way to the next, thus unfolding to this very second, which will bring forth what is to be. Like the passing of days and the changing of seasons, life is a process, a continual flow, a stream of occurrences. A reactive disposition resists this natural motion, focusing on life's oscillations. Observing our reactions can alter the reactive perspective, lessening the perceived ups and downs, not removing them. The elements simply are. They exist independent of, but in relation to, the seed. Life is not something that happens to us, but rather something that is happening. We are a part of it. It all leads forward, and it all facilitates individual, thus communal, growth. As this mindset replaces the one which sees itself as the reciprocator, it becomes clear that outside of reactions and responses, individual control is almost non-existent. Habitual judgments categorize the good and the bad, but taking a step back and seeing things as they are can be incredibly beneficial. The seed does not curse the rain, nor does the sun seek to scorch the soil. Learning to remove personal agendas, wills, desires, and opinions from circumstance allows for an objective rather than subjective viewpoint. What is left is the ability to fill each moment with the qualities of selflessness, a constant opportunity to treat everything with honesty, love, and sincerity. Contrarily, with little conscious awareness of the will, it is easy to follow impulse. These impulses help to fortify self-image, satisfy desires, seek out pleasures, and avoid pain. The false sense of security which they provide is like the house built upon the sand. Instead, develop a strong objective foundation. Through self-reflection, observe the different elements of a situation with simplicity and selflessly proceed with compassion, gratitude, and love. The ability to reflect on the root of desires facilitates growth. Thus, begin to acknowledge the rain, the sun, and the moon as they are, building an appreciation for the grace contained within each. The Garden of the Heart: Seeds, Weeds, and Garden Plots. Digging further into botanical metaphors, examine the garden within. The garden is that of the soul, and the seeds are the selfless qualities of love, compassion, honesty, and sincerity. Without proper tending, the plot may fall barren, or more likely, become overgrown with the weeds of the self: anger, jealousy, pride, fear, arrogance, desire. The qualities of the weeds are blinders, causing a limited one-sidedness. The sun never fails to paint the sky with a fantastic display of colors, yet the beauty of a sunset is easily missed while thinking about dinner during an evening commute. The restricted vantage of the self-centered qualities impairs the opportunity for openness towards present surroundings. In one sense, true reality is immediate, moment-to-moment existence. It is easy to become entangled, distracted, and overtaken by the weeds of the self. This is the importance of maintaining the garden of the heart. Through meditation, the weeds can be uprooted and the soil replenished, providing the space and nourishment for the qualities of love to flourish. As one labors for a bountiful harvest, gardeners of the heart must also toil in order to cultivate selflessness. Facilitating the miracle of growth. The second piece of the story expands upon inner growth through self-reflection and meditation. It depicts how the inward path facilitates the miracle of growth, internally and also externally. Internal self-reflection of the external reveals the qualities within. Processing this way creates an awareness of the self. It is a harmonious weaving of the world inside and the world outside. As with any neglected garden, it can be difficult work in the beginning and can be frustrating, spending the day with the weeds, yet by evening a new crop appears to emerge, and in the morning the gardening continues. Often the work is intimidating. It is either abandoned or never begun, and so some gardens remain overgrown or vacant. The gardener utilizes the tools of self-reflection and meditation. Developing a self-reflective nature benefits and strengthens the meditative practice. It enables the recognition of the ever-present stillness, while revealing that which remains to be done. The pond of self-reflection. Stillness is constant. It is everywhere, all of the time, within and surrounding everything. It is a connective current. Water tangibly exemplifies this stillness. Even with the motion of the waves and ripples, the pond is stillness. It will always return to its level surface, and so never parts from this nature. Its process is emptiness. The pond is not disturbed by an object thrown into it, no matter the size of the splash. The object's momentum is transferred throughout the pond, and the motion becomes contained within stillness. The pond is in constant balance. To achieve the reflective qualities of the water, one becomes self-reflective. The waves and ripples are not long-lasting, and in their impermanence return to stillness. Meditation is a process of reuniting with this natural state. Like the pond, reflect the still nature. Self-reflection. Self-reflective practice encourages exploration of the internal workings of being. The ups and downs experienced are unavoidably rooted within the self. All emotions originate from this point, no matter how far removed they seem. Consider the pond. It does not focus on the peaks and valleys of the waves. Instead, it grounds itself in stillness. To truly remove a weed, follow the growth of its vines long enough to reveal the root system embedded within the self. This is self-reflection. To address the qualities of the weeds within the self, acknowledge them. The world becomes a teacher, constantly providing opportunities for self-examination. It reveals strengths, and also that which requires more diligent work. Uprooting the weeds can be very difficult, but the effort provides self-understanding and reduces dependence on the impulsive and reactive nature. Through self-reflection, focus on the self is decreased, helping to foster a more objective view of circumstances. Things are seen as they are, rather than how the will perceives them to be, revealing the flowing nature of life. Meditation, a daily practice. Meditation, in comparison to brief moments of awareness and spontaneous instances of tranquility, makes a conscious effort to return to the nature of stillness. It is the practice of uprooting the weeds of the self in order to plant and tend to the seeds of selflessness. It seeks to address the self, creating the emptiness for stillness. This practice is a process to selflessness. Through meditation, the garden of the heart may flourish with the radiance of love and compassion. Tend to the garden each day, 10 minutes, twice daily, once upon waking, and again with the completion of the day, 20 minutes each day with no extra stimuli. Retain its simplicity, silent and solitary, returning to stillness. A daily commitment of quiet time within itself is a refining process, helping to clear away other habits in order to prioritize the meditative discipline. As the garden bed is cleared, there is a greater sense of awareness within. Mindfulness and empathy nourish the soil where compassion begins to grow. This extends into daily life, activities, and relationships. As consistent mindfulness replaces impulse, a true appreciation for the present develops. Gratitude begins to flourish. Everything becomes an extension of the meditative practice. Washing the dishes, cooking, cleaning. There is beauty in the rain, the sun, and the moon. The work of internal gardening is also transformed into a loving practice. The qualities of the self have less and less room to grow, and through grace, the heart is filled with love. A short discourse on meditation. While meditation makes a conscious effort to reunite with stillness, seeking stillness is like searching for sand in the desert. Stillness is inherent. The mind, like the day, is filled to the brim, endlessly racing thoughts, memories, desires, plans, fears. These are cultivated from the weeds of the self. A single weed may have many vines, as the essence of one quality of the self may take many forms. Rooted within the garden of the heart, they clutter the mind and distract from stillness. Often, that which grows in the garden influences perspective. Observe the relationship between thoughts, opinions, reactions, and emotions. Allow the simplicity of the breath to assist in clearing their entanglement. Just relax. The physical stillness of the practice allows for internal focus. This may seem overwhelming. Just relax. Breathe deeply, eyes closed. Focus on breathing, in and out, slowly. Listen to the breath. Listen for silence. Like blowing dust off of an old table, the internal space is immediately cleared of debris with the breath. While the particles will quickly accumulate again, in the brief connection with emptiness, the separateness from thoughts and emotions becomes comprehensible. When the self-reflective practice is applied to the task of sorting through the mind's clutter, thoughts and emotions can be viewed objectively. In time, uproot the quality from which they originate, making room in the garden bed. Actions, words, and thoughts, no longer motivated by the self, grow from mindfulness and love. This is nourishment for the seeds of selflessness. External influence serves as a reminder for the daily upkeep of the garden, providing opportunities for self-reflection and thus growth. Blessings are manifested within the external workings of daily life, the beauty of the rain and the sun. All circumstance is part of the continual flow that is life. As emptiness fills the space that once contained an abundance of self-centered thoughts, opinions, and emotional reactions, the presence of stillness can be felt. With fewer distractions, the surrounding subtleties are noticeable. Observe the sunset during the commute. Experiencing the still nature creates awareness, and mindfulness becomes an outward expression of the daily internal practice. Mindfulness manifests itself in many forms. Awareness of one's surroundings, the sound of the birds, the feel of the sun, the gentleness of the wind, slowly and gratefully enjoying each step, the warm water while gently washing dishes. Mindfulness extends into relations as well, truly listening to somebody speak without an internal dialogue, choosing silence rather than speaking from pride, acting with compassion. As the blinders from the qualities of the self are removed, an appreciation for all people develops. Separateness is cultivated from the weeds of the self, and as the weeds are uprooted, the selfless qualities facilitate the growth of love within. Emptiness is the space once inhabited by clutter, and selflessness remains constant as the weeds of the self are uprooted. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your toes, Min. In meditation and transitioning from a meditative state, the act of gently moving the toes is a simple means of grounding, bringing awareness back to the body. Throughout the day, thoughts and emotions may take control. Wiggle your toes. Taking the focus away from distractive thoughts, it brings a momentary connection with stillness, a reminder to pause, a reminder to breathe, and a reminder of stillness's presence. Try to observe the beauty and grace within the moment. Prayer. Meditation is not an act unto itself. In part, it is a preparation for prayer. The development of the meditative process is a refinement of thoughts, actions, words, and intentions. Selflessness is an emptying of the self. The absence of selfish qualities is love. Selflessness is love. The qualities of love are the qualities of the divine. The Creator is love, infinite in compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. Self-reflection and meditation clear the weeds within the garden. The soil is nourished by kindness, mindfulness, and good works. Stillness is the tended garden plot, emptied in preparation for the gardener's loving hand. It is through grace that the seeds of love flourish within, humbly reflecting the qualities of the divine. All is beautiful. To change the world, address the content within the heart. With honesty, sincerity, and humility, cultivate the divine qualities of love, compassion, and forgiveness. As the garden bed is cleared of weeds, become grounded within the stillness of prayer. Mindfully tend the soil. The seeds of selflessness germinate, and compassion takes root. Grow in gratitude. Allow love to blossom. This concludes the recording of Just Relax, a short discourse on meditation. Recording copyright 2020. For more information, please visit www.howstrangelywearemade.com. Thank you for listening.